I feel privileged to be invited to come and talk to my fellow entrepreneurs. And I'm a graduate of Club 101. And I've been taught to talk about how to grow a business, build the founder. And what I would say is that I'm in that process. I've not grown my business, build me, but I think the structures I've put in place, the business can survive in my absence. And I think that is what is very important for any business person. So I'll take you through what we do. My name is Paul Kinuthia. I'm the founder of Interconsumer Products. We do make nice and lovely products, bouncy baby diaper, among many other products. So briefly, I'll take you through the company. Then from there, I'll take you through the challenges I've gone through, how I mitigated them, up to where I am today. So very quickly, I started the business as a sole proprietor in 1994. 1994 as a backstreet outfit, manufacturing and selling direct to the shampoos. I was making shampoos and selling to the salons. And actually, it was quite interesting. I started the business with 3,000 shillings. And used to use the hard cut and so forth. I incorporated the company into a limited company, into a limited liability in 1996. And basically what I did to comply was to get a brother of mine and tell him, I'm giving you one share to qualify for a business. And I think that is what most of us do. And so it was made, incorporated to a limited liability, and moved from Ngariama House to a bigger premises in Gekomba. And that is where the journey for expansion started. And what I did was to engage a lot of salons, the hairdressers, in terms of selling the products, my product. And by then, there were no many local guys who used to know how to make the shampoo. So we were very few of us, and our product was very popular. Between 1996 and 2001, I was able to penetrate to, I remember I got my first order from Tuskys and Ibrahim Supermarket. And I had a lot of challenge in terms of meeting the demand. But what I did was to borrow raw materials. You know, I started getting credit from IDF, that is Industrial Chemicals, and Obet Chemicals, and from other packaging material suppliers. And I was able to meet the orders and grow. In 2002, I was able to start selling the shampoo to Uganda and Tanzania. And but that came with its own challenges. Actually, the business almost came down to its knees because I didn't have structures, and I had to move a lot in terms of seeing those distributors and trying to understand how they do business. So my sales went down. The Nairobi structure almost collapsed, but somehow I survived. As part of growth, we were able to move to our new premises, that is along Mombasa Road, and we have continued to sell in the commercial markets. Actually, our products are in about 9 countries, but of course, not in big presence. But now I'm building the structures to be able to sustain the business or to get more market share in those areas. That is the premises where we moved to. That is one of the things I've been able to achieve, to construct my own factory in the head office. I'll probably now take you through the journey of building a lasting business. What I've realized is that when I was coming up is that no SME or individual family-owned business requires the formation of a working board. And it only comes about if the owner desires effective help to ensure the long-term viability of his journey, of his company. And this requires outside people who could come and help the owner. So, and that is the journey I started. Some of my key challenges, and this I think is what makes, or what affects many businesses, was lack of control and fraud, and managing the expansion, lack of accountability, and retaining key personnel was a problem, financial cash flow, and management. If I can take you back, I remember that was back in 2006. I suffered a lot of crisis. I had an OD of actually Barclays Bank. I don't know whether we have a representative of Barclays Bank, and an overdraft which became hardcore. And what they did was to put me on what they used to call BBC, Barclays Bank support services, where they wanted to know how I'm going to pay my debts. And by then, my sales was about 45 million per month. 45 million per month, but I had accumulation of debts going to about 118 million. And I owed the bank about 11 million, 8 million in loan, and 3 million in overdraft. And actually, I could not tell what the problem is because goods were moving out. And I didn't have an accountant. What I had was just what I would call a crack who was doing the bookkeeping. So what I did was I realized that here I'm in trouble. The suppliers are demanding money. I don't know who's surprised to me here. If I have some of the suppliers, those days they know the challenges I underwent. No payment, stocks are not coming, we are selling. So what I did was to talk to a guy who was a professional. Actually, by then, he used to be the company secretary and administrator for Kenya Power. And I told him, I'm in so many trouble. I don't know what I'm going to do. The Barclays Bank wants to go with my business. Suppliers are not supplying. So he told me, can I see what you do? And he came and tried to sort me out. And he told me, man, you're in deep problems. Unless you put controls and hire professionals, you are going to go under. Actually, you are going to go to jail. That was his words. And he told me, can you recruit an accountant, a qualified finance guy? And we went looking for a guy, and we were able to identify a good guy called Anthony Mwangi. I'm sure when I talk about Anthony, Mwema knows Anthony. Anthony came to my business, and I had him. I didn't know where to get money, but he told me, don't worry, we'll get money. And I'm telling you, he came and did a due diligence, and he told me, do you know what, man? You're in such a deep problem, but don't worry. Because what he realized was that all the money we had debts going to about 105 million. 105 million with customers. He did a due diligence, and he said that he's double sure we are not able to collect close to 68 million. It's not there. Sales reps have taken it. Most of the invoices, we could not trace them. We could not trace some of the customers. They were fictitious customers. And everything was so bad. So what he embarked was number one, to put controls in terms of inventory management and sales management. And he was able to tell me, Paul, this is the way we are going to do things. We need to understand who our customers are, what they do, where they are. And we need to do invoices from here. Because what was happening was we used to load goods in the vehicles of the reps. And the reps used to take a book, an invoice to go selling. Then they could say they sold on credit. They could create their own accounts and so forth. But when we said that it's orders, the work of the sales rep was to correct an order, bring it here, then we hire a vehicle to deliver. It sorted out the problem. So what we did was, number one, to fire all the sales reps. We recruited a sales manager, and we put controls. Completely different culture in terms of selling. Of course, the sales reduced. We were in deep problems. And I could not figure out what we are going to do. But somehow, he was able to sort the business, talking to suppliers. He talked to the banks. By then, I was reporting to a guy called Mwangi at Barclays Bank by then. And that was Barclays Bank, Queensway Towers. It was not a good thing, because we used not to be accountable to anyone. And I think most of us don't want to be accountable to people. So when Mwangi came, he sorted out the guys. They stopped coming to tell me to go report to them and make reports. He started making the reports. And he restructured the loan and the overdraft, actually to a longer period. And that was no longer a problem. And we got a good sales manager called Munene, who had come from Hako Industries. Again, he came and streamlined the whole way we used to do things. And we were able to put a lot of discipline and recruit professional sales reps. And things really changed in a very short while. So some of the outcomes of Mwangi's insights and Munene's was ghost invoices. We didn't have sales records, outstanding accounts. We are actually paid and money pocketed by sales reps. And I'm sure I'm talking to you guys. This happens almost to everyone. And what I did was to file criminal cases against the reps. And I can tell you that about 5 of them were jailed. But that was after struggling with the court, going to court for close to 5 years. And it was not an easy thing. So the best thing for you, put controls from the word go. Because going to court is more tedious and consumes about a lot of your time. So what I'm talking about is the hard loans and overdrafts, and I've talked about the 3 items. We had cash flow crisis, but the worst was to come. You see that guy called Commissioner General? I'm telling you, in 2007, towards 2007, that is the exact, actually I even have the dates with me here, because I can remember one fellow who just walked to the office and said that they want to do an in-depth audit about interconsumer. And actually he left a note saying that they are going to audit PAE, VAT, excise duty, directors' drawings, corporate tax, fringe benefits, etc., etc. And he said they are going to audit from 1999. And me, I thought of closing the business, because I knew how my books were. I didn't actually have books. If it's the director's drawing, I used to get the cash and put in the pocket. And actually, you know, with the African entrepreneurs, what we do, we draw the cash, we go and buy a kashaba, some caprot. And actually, I have built some small prot somewhere. And the money was coming from the business. So a lot of problems were coming in. And what Anthony, and that is why I respect professionals. What my accountant said is that I'm going to write back to these guys, and I'm going to tell them to come after 2 to 3 months. And he wrote to the guys, telling them, KRI guys, we can only allow you in after 3 months. And I was asking Anthony, are you going to agree? Because me, I've never seen a KRI person. Are we going to agree? Are they going to agree? And they responded. And what Anthony did was to hire some auditors to come and do a pre-audit. And when they did it, they told us that you guys are indebted to KRI up to about 30 million. That was the accountant, that was the auditor, a briefcase auditor, because I cannot tell where he came from. And he's not among the big 4. So what the guy said, because I remember his words, he told us, I'm able to sort these KRI guys and bring a certificate of compliance with 9 million. And I was almost telling Anthony, that sounds good, man. If we have to do 30 million, I think parting with 30 million, Mwangi told me, you man, you are going to lose your business. So after Mwangi had that report, what he did was to call the KRA guys coming. And I'm telling you, they came about 4 or 5 guys. I can remember, I already called Sheila. I can remember all of them. And they came and we gave them an office, diligently an office, and they did the audit. They did the audit. They sent us the figures. After about a month, they told us we owe KRI 43 million shillings, including principal, penalties, and so forth. And I remember almost that time I talked to Mwema to ask him, how do I manage that? But of course I knew I cannot manage Mwema's fee. So what I did was to recruit a company called PG Wahome. I think PG Wahome Auditors, to come and look at, to do those things. And he said, yeah, you guys, this is correct. And you have no option, you have to pay these guys. By then I'm shaking and I'm just seeing the jail closing the business. And what Anthony told me, I'll negotiate with these guys. And to be honest with you, we paid KRA. I think we paid the last check this year, because we negotiated on a payment scheme of between 300 shillings per month. We went topping up to 500. I think the last payment we were doing was 1.5 million per month. But that cleared the whole liability. We are very good in the books of and eyes of KRA. Actually, they even took us, graduated us to the large taxpayers office. And sometimes you get a call for a cup of tea. But that brought a lot of disciplines in terms of the way we do business and manage business. Because we could not have paid all that money. We paid because of our ignorance, not keeping proper books of accounts, And it was a huge risk, a huge challenge. And one thing I congratulate myself is that I refused to do what guys wanted me to do, especially that briefcase auditor. Because Mongi was saying, even if we sort this guy, this problem would never go. You'd still see KRA coming to say we need to do the audit again. And now we're in very good books. Even if they come, we just give them an office. Actually, we even have an office for KRA guys. Although they know there is nothing to get there because they know we operate overboard. And that is what I'll be encouraging you guys to do. Because if you do that, you are going to grow your business. I've seen a lot of my colleagues who started business at the same time. Because of wanting to remain small, hide tax, operate 2 books. You know, when you start operating 2 books, you are actually robbing. And when your employees knows that you are stealing, what do? They'll start stealing from you. They'll start stealing from you. And there is no way you are going to be on top of your business. So it's very important you operate one business, one vision, and let everybody know that it's an over-the-board business and there is no crooked things which happens under the table. And that has really sorted into consumer. So 2007, I focused a lot on personnel development and performance management. And actually, I appointed professional auditors among the big 4 in the consumer now, just as a discipline, because those are the guys who cannot agree you to hide a penny. If you go to KPMG, if you go to Deloitte, if you go to Ernst & Young, trust me, you have to align your business completely. And that was very deliberate move, going to the big 4. And those are guys who do not want to negotiate, actually, and they tell you this is the way to do business, and if you're not going to do our way, we are not going to audit you, because they know the risk. And that is what I would be begging you. Don't do your own audit and look for somebody to do the stamping. Because when you go to professionals, you get a lot of insights in terms of, because they even look at your controls, your systems, the competence of the people you have. They all do that, and they advise you. They give you some very elaborate management reports, which you work with. And actually, that sets the momentum of the business. And you're able now even to penalize or to talk to your managers and tell them this is where we are losing focus. So it's very important. I did my first strategy. I had never thought what a strategy is. And my strategy was quite interesting because I met a guy who later became one of my directors called Professor Mayaka. He's a lecturer at USIU. And I was attending some forums just to look at what is strategy, what is corporate governance, and all those manner of things which we hear. And I decided to attend several forums, and I met Professor Mayaka and so many other guys. And, you know, you feel small when you don't know some of these things. But I had the guts to tell Mayaka, can you help me? And he told me, what do you want? I want you to make a strategy. And Professor told me, I'm not going to make for you a strategy. It's you who is going to make the strategy with your people. And how? My people cannot make a strategy. He told me, Paul, it's not even you, it's your people. And but I'm going to provide the tools. And what Prof did was he called a meeting. He came for about 2 hours. And he taught the guys on some very basic things. And he told them, what I want you to do is to tell me about the challenges for this business, the opportunities you see, the weakness you see, the problem you see with your MD, and all those manner of things. And he told me, that you go right, don't even take to him, bring to me. And I was asking, Prof, how do you ask these guys to do that? Prof told me, that's how the strategy starts. We need to do a SWOT. We need to understand the business. Let these guys say what they do, how they do, the challenges they see. And so they wrote a lot of things. And Prof called me. He showed me, told me this is what they have written. And the business looks good. It's promising. But like you are one of the biggest problem. So we need to sort you out. To give them space. Give them JDs, give them KPIs and so forth. Because guys were saying they have no idea what they do. You know, I'm on everywhere doing almost everything and messing them up. So we went with the Prof to Naivasha. I remember we took about 4 days, and my 6, 7 managers, and we carried a few of their assistants. And they were quite exciting days, because what we did was to go and scan the market, look at the opportunities. And Prof told me, now you have a strategy, man. Go implement. Of course, after assembling it to a document which can work in terms of what we were calling the strategic goals, the measures, the tactics, the functional objectives, a lot of things which I had never had in my head. So what happened was, and I want to take you through that later. What happened was, I told Prof, you have to join me and be part of my board. Prof said, yes, but if the board would be working. I said, not a working board? He said, yes. It will be, Paul, because the business belongs to you. If you want any help, you have to give me my date to come and sit with your people, work with them, see what the challenge is, and help you manage them. And we agreed with Prof, and he joined the board towards the end of 2007. And I can tell you things started changing. Because what happened is that the way I was managing people, now I started managing them in the boardroom. And what we could do with Prof was to give them some tasks and targets and tell them to report on Monday. So Prof could come every Monday. We give each manager about 30 minutes to see what they have achieved, tasks, what they have accomplished, the challenges, and so forth. And that brought a lot of discipline, the way we used to, the business started to be done. And guys started now respecting the professionalism. It became so easy for me because we could do that, give them tasks, disappear for another 1 week, then we meet again on Monday with the Prof. Then after we evaluate them individually, then we call them together. We have like a 30-minute management meeting. And things really worked for the business. So what is here is, that is our custom house. And that is where our strategy sits. If you look at that, that is our vision. To be the home of the most preferred and trusted personal care and beauty products in Eastern and Central Africa. Our mission, to provide affordable, high-quality personal care and beauty products that enhance confidence and personal image using environmentally friendly technologies. That's our target, our brands to have the highest market share in our brands. And if you look at our custom house, our strategy is supported by business growth, operational excellence, capital and finance planning, and risk management. If you look at those 4, those are our core values. The personnel core values. We talk of responsibility. We need guys who are inspired, guys who are passionate, and guys who are excellent in what they do. And if you look at our foundation, we talk of winning culture, engaged leadership, and the core values. That's what drives our business. And we have like about a 10-page strategy people elaborating each theme. Each theme. Like the business growth is supported by opening new markets, product innovation, and getting usage for our products to have more people using them. In operational excellence, that we look at the whole supply chain management, how we are going to lower costs, how we are going to lower the delivery cost per customer. Capital and finance planning is just to ensure that we have enough money for growth and to sustain the business, and we look for I'll call them the cheapest funds in terms of business. Risk management, we look at compliance and so many other things, and everybody in the business understands this thing. So I engaged in terms of training of key managers, and that's by the professor I'm talking about, implemented weekly management meetings, developed a system of systems and controls. Then we started advocating the winning culture, where our guys are engaged. Appointment of a board, and 2007 that's when we appointed Prof. 2008 we appointed a corporate affairs and legal advisor because of compliance issue. 2009 we appointed a finance director, a guy who is able to look at everything in details. In 2010, actually this year, we have appointed a very, very sharp person called Mire Washeke. Those of you who Mire, She's in our board as the human capital director. And I can see some people know her. So, and she's very, very happy about the appointment as a part of our board. And our next appointment is operational and supply chain director. And I can see the man here. Our target guy is here. We are trying to quote him kidogo kidogo. I don't want to announce him now, but I can see him seated somewhere in the first row. Dr. Muriangani, karibu sana. So, benefits of these appointments, number one is a clear business roadmap. We have very clear plans. We are trusted now by stakeholders, everybody. If we have bankers here, they are always scoring because they know who we are. And the cash flow stability, business expertise and knowledge. If I go back there, what we have gotten out of those 4 appointments is enormous. And like now we have even an exit, we have a clear succession plan for me and for the family. In case tomorrow I'm not there, my wife does not like business. For reasons I don't know. And I didn't know that when I was marrying her. But what I've done is that now what we have done is we have structured interconsumer that even in case of I'm not there, in case I'm gone, there is a very clear exit in terms of my shares and the family shares. Although the business is fully owned by the family, because how we have structured interconsumer, 10% is owned by me. Then we have another company called Serene Holding, which owns 90% of the business. And Serene is owned by me, my wife, and my children. And then we have agreements in terms of any exit that we are going to sell the business. And we even know who to sell to. So everything is known that in case of my demise, if I drop dead here now, this is how the business will go. It's going to be sold. You are going to get the revenue. This is how you are going to share it. And so forth. Including the young ones, because I have some who are below 18. They have shares in trust. And it works quite wonders. So moving out of there, our future growth is to bring an independent CEO in 2012. And you attempted to bring a CEO last year, but it could not work because we didn't have structures. And he could not be able to navigate through. So as board, we felt that we disengaged the MD who had come. Then we first, as a board, built structures, put proper governance, and put away on how we are going to be managing the MD. And that is what we are embarking on. And the way we manage our top managers, because we have 7 top managers. We have the finance manager, we have the commercial manager, we have the ICT manager, HR manager, R&D manager, we have the export manager. Who have I left? Sorry? No, we have the sales and marketing, we have exports, we have finance, HR, operations, factory. Yes. Okay, all of them. So what we have done is that instead of them reporting to me, and then I report to the board, because sometimes the board may feel not comfortable, me reporting direct to them, they want to carpet me. So we came up with a strategy of those guys reporting to the board so that they are carpeted on my behalf. And it works wonders, because what we do is we give them very clear deliverables, and then they report to the board individually. And then from there, same methodology, we have a management meeting whereby we are able to look at what they are doing. And if you come to our office, we have somewhere we call the war room. The war room, we battle. It's a room probably the size of here, where everybody has a board. And what you do, you write what you are doing for the week, for the month, timelines, what you are going to achieve. And then you have to go there and report what you have achieved. And it is really, really working wonders for the company. So my next thing is to float shares to the public and the institutions by 2013. We're on course. I believe that we are going to achieve that. And you guys need to prepare for the next big thing, which is floating inter-consumer. And some reputation there. Basically, importance of the board was, of course, there is the trust and professionalism. My staff are now very comfortable. Proper controls and governance. Clear business roadmap. Basically, these are the things I repeated earlier. So those are the things we are doing, and the board is good. What you may ask me is how I remunerate the board. It's quite interesting, because what we agreed with my board is that I'd be paying them a bonus based on the net profit. Net profit, not gross, net. And we agree. Like now we have been, we have agreed on the next year target, bottom line, and the operational expenses like RD, finance, and so forth, financing. And we have agreed that this is your percentage. So if we meet that, they have to get it. But it comes when we have the audited report out and the money is in the bank. And it is working wonders for me. What I do during the other meetings, because they come, I give them a small retainer just to take care of their fuel, because they have to come all the way from, some of them come from Thika Road and so forth. So they have to come, and we pay them a token. But towards the end of the year, when the audited reports are out, I give them their check after 15 days. And it's working wonders for me. And that is how I've been able to sustain my other top managers. For instance, for them, the target for this year, that is 2010, the 7 of them have promised them 10 million. We achieve our bottom line, and the 10 million is basically about 3% of what we are projecting as our bottom line after tax. So the 10 billion, it comes, they are going to share. But there are so many penalties in between in case they don't focus on the bottom line. And that keeps the whole team focused towards one goal. And they work as a team, they pull as a team. And that is keeping them engaged. And when I started that scheme, because I started last 2008, they thought it was a joke. But when they went home with each a check of 350,000, they had never seen that before. So they hit the 2009 again, there was a target. They took home close to about 700,000 each. This year, they're planning to take home close to about 1.5. Close to about 1.5. And they're happy, and I'll pay them. And that has freed my stress. I have enough time to do anything I want. And I'm double sure that work will be done, and the business will continue to grow. Quote of the day, a problem shared, a problem halved. So the structures I've put in place have given me enough time. I'm able to think strategically. I'm able to look at business in a different manner. And the stress is gone. Actually, my wife has been telling me that I'm growing younger, including my children. So that was me when I graduated to Club 100. And I was thanking the people who supported us. And let me tell you, one of the landings I ran, because most of these things I ran when Mwema and the Nation, it's called what? Business Week, knocked on my doors, asking for whether we can participate. I remember by then, I told Mwangi we cannot. This is another now trap. This is another trap. These guys want to do an audit, and we are just through with KRA, we are through with so many problems. But Mwangi told me, no, Paul, don't worry. We are going to participate. I'm going to give them all the information. And he told me, Paul, now we have nothing to hide. We are going to give them everything. And that is how the journey to putting the structures and the governance came in place. So my advice is that if you want to sustain your business, get good advisors who are able to support you, people who are of integrity, and mature. Don't hide anything. Remove everything. Remove all the skeletons. Tell them this is the situation. How do we sort it out? Be open to your staff. Let them know the direction. Like now my staff have our whole strategic paper in the business plan. But there is nothing much they can do with it on their own. Because for it to bear any fruit, it must be executed by a team. And the difference is, how do you execute that business plan? It's just a paper. It's just a paper. But the way you execute it is what makes the difference. As an individual, they each have a copy. But now the result is the execution. And what we try to do is to excel in terms of the way we look at the strategy and the way we allocate the resources in terms of doing that. Thank you very, very much. And I can take questions.
My name is Abbas Chandu. We didn't have the pleasure of meeting earlier.
Thank you.
And like Robert said, I'm normally a man of many words, but I only have this to say. I salute you for your candor, for your absolute honesty with us, and for your bravery. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. I think I'm inspired. So my problems were not as much as his. No wonder my company is also not doing as well as his. Anyway, I would want to know, apart from streamlining your operations, how did you get the resources to grow, given the fact that at that time you are already in bad books with your bank, as it were? I think I would appreciate to know how you were able to get out of that financing hole. Then the other one, perhaps you'd have told us how you decided that you are going to start manufacturing cosmetics as your business. And we also noticed that you started with very modest resources. But then perhaps I would have wanted to know whether you had any knowledge on cosmetics or your background, that kind of thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll start with how I went to the business of cosmetics. It was quite interesting for me because I'd done a diploma in sales and marketing. And I was trying to get a job. And what I did was to get some casual jobs. I remember I worked for Tetra Pak in the factory, making the sealing board, the yard of Coca-Cola. We have someone from Coca-Cola repairing the wooden crates, and so forth. One day I saw an advertisement in the by then I had just done my diploma, and actually I'd been recruited by my uncle who had he was manufacturing salt, the table salt. And he had recruited me, telling me he wants to train me to be a salesman. So the work I was given first was to off-road the cartons. I go with the sales rep and off-road the cartons. So when I saw the advert of a sales rep wanted, I applied. But what I remember is I was interviewed at Kinuthia, in that hotel. Actually, I was bought some soup. So we negotiated. They told me that their office was somewhere behind those funny places near, in a small office. And they took me when I agreed. They told me they would be paying me 1,500 and a commission of 5% in each sale. And that sounded good. So they told me to report with a briefcase so that I get perfumes. So I went, talked to a guy who was a close friend to my uncle, who was the sales manager for Cadbury. And he gave me a briefcase. Actually, he gave me his briefcase. I told him I've gotten a job as a sales rep. And because I used to admire the guy so much, and I was telling him I must become a sales rep, he told me, I bless you, Paul. Go sell. Went to Kandera. They loaded my briefcase with the perfumes. And I did not know where to start. I did not know where to start. At all. Here I have the briefcase and the goods. So what I did in the evening, at around 3, I went to the, not country bus, the other one. This one here. Not the country, not country. The country is the Machakos. Where the Kenya bus used to be. By then people used to queue, bus station. Guys used to queue. And it was very interesting. So with my briefcase, I opened the briefcase. I was talking to ladies, please buy a perfume. I had a tester. And somehow, I was able to sell. I was able to sell about 6 pieces. So I went to Kadera, and I told Kadera I managed to sell 6 pieces. He was very happy. He told me, I encourage you. The following day again, went to the same bus station. And my uncle sent me to Barclays Bank Pioneer, the one which was where the bomb blast was. My uncle sent me to one of the managers who were working for Pioneers and told me, you can buy here, you can sell a bit of them. So I went to Pioneer, and I sold a lot of perfumes. I sold close to 12 pieces. By then the bankers, I think, were closed so much. We never used to get time to go out. And perfumes were very scarce. So I sold a lot. The afternoon I went to the bus station. I sold, but I got some good insights. Ladies were telling me they don't have money. It was asking them, where can I get you? And most of them told me they work for the government, NSSF, and so forth. And I told them, can I bring tomorrow? They said, yes. So when I landed at actually Afia House, I sold so many perfumes. And I could not imagine. I'd just gone to see one woman, one lady. I sold close to 20 perfumes in that building, just through referrals that there is a guy with good perfumes. And Kadera could not believe it when I took back the perfumes. But to cut a long story short, on Saturdays, I realized that I have nowhere to go sell because the offices, government offices, which had become my target, are closed. And I started looking for women. You know where I got them? They go to saloons. So Saturdays, I started going to the saloon, and that was a completely different market for me. Started selling a lot of perfumes, and they started asking me for other items. I want to be very honest with you, I have never heard of a shampoo. I had the first shampoo from a red salon asking, can you get shampoo? Shampoo, yes. What is a shampoo? They gave me a sample. Yeah, I'm working for Kadera, and the ladies want shampoo. But I remember my stay with Kadera did not last. And Kadera had refused me to go to River Road, telling me that is not my territory. And one day I found myself strolling to River Road, and I went to a shop called Ushanga, another one called David Emporium, which we are selling perfumes. And I told them, guys, I'm selling perfumes. They looked at me and said, how much? 200. You have the same. We can sell it to you for 8 shillings, brother. What? Do you know I told them, you are selling a fake product that I took off. I didn't know that is where Kandera gets his products. But I was very decent. I was very decent because I didn't go to River Road for close to 1 month until Kandera refused to pay me. And this is a very true story. I even have the check for Kandera for 6,000. He gave me the check, it bounced. He told me, Paul, you know, I'm in a lot of problem with my wife. We're almost divorcing. So I cannot pay you commission. I'm going to increase your salary to 2,000. And I knew this is the beginning of the departure between me and Kadera. But I sold so much for him, he could not believe it. But it came a point I told him, Kadera, we have to disengage. So when we disengaged with Kadera, what I did was, I didn't even continue selling perfumes. I started selling some lipsticks called Irene. Probably Joan knows them, the green ones, which were green, but you apply it, it turns pink. And they became very popular. And some other products. So I started by retailing, selling, hawking a bit. But now let me tell you how manufacturing came in. That could be what is very interesting for you. There was a guy called Kokoyo Products. He used to be the guy selling shampoo in the whole of Nairobi. So I told Kokoyo, I can be selling for you. So Kokoyo agreed. I sell for him. But we agreed on a discount. So he was giving me at 90 shillings. but they were selling to the Saruds at 110. So I sold a lot of Kokoyo shampoo, and his sales reps started complaining that I'm eating into their market. And I told Kokoyo, no, I'm not eating into your market, I'm selling your product, Buana. You should be happy, I'm growing your brand. Kokoyo told me, no, the salesmen are making noise, so I'm going to stop selling to you, or even if I'm going to sell to you, it's at 110. So I told Kokoyo, okay, no problem, sell to me at 110. So when Koyo started selling me at 110, what I did was to remove his ribbo called Koyo shampoo. And started selling without a ribbo. And I started selling mine at 120. Without a ribbo. Who is the brand? Paul. I became the brand. So I could take without a ribbo. Koyo's guys could come, try to sell at 110. They told you, no, you are buying from Paul. So I became the brand. Eventually, when I saw that was working, I made a small ribbo called Caring Shampoo. So I started putting in Koyo shampoo. Caring Shampoo. So me, I started making my own brand. When Koyo realized what I was doing, he stopped selling to me. And I told Koyo, Bona, you are only getting your business. I told him, you're going to force me to start making shampoo and I'm going to finish you. So me, I did my own research. I got the ingredients. Actually, I remember I went to IDL. I went to Orbit Chemicals. They told me, actually, we have the formulation for making shampoo is standard. This is the formulation. These are the materials. You just require a moiko and a drum, nothing else. And a guy who have eaten ugari. That is how the company was born. I rushed to Kirinyaga Road. A friend of mine called Dungo gave me a bathroom. I put a drum there, a moiko. I was given the formulation. This is what you start adding. Got a guy from there who was very strong. I made the first bunch of shampoo. I still remember it produced 44 kibuyus, or 440. And each kibuyu gave me about 50 shillings. We are selling at 110. The cost was about 60 bob. So 50 times that, the mathematicians, 50 times 44, over 2,000 shillings. 2,000. 2,000. 2,200. In a day, I could do 2 shampoos. In one day. And that is how the company was born. Nothing else. I could rush there, pick the kibuyus from Muhindu who was selling down there on credit, say, come and give him the money. So that is how the business was born. And as we talk, I don't even know where the Koyo is arrived. What is the running from that? You must take care of your customers. Don't push them to become your competitors. Because that is what we do a lot of times. You push a guy to become your competitor. So that is what happened. So what happened is after 2007, when we were in a lot of crisis, I'd bought some plot along Mombasa Road. Actually, I'd bought it for 5 acres where we are, 2.5 acres. Actually, I have 5 acres, 2.5 acres and 5 acres behind. That is near the flyover. You know the flyover? From the airport where you pass under to go to Mombasa Road. I have some land there, 5 acres behind. And I'd bought the 5 acres during the Moi era. You know those jamaa walikuwa tu wanapewa makaratasi yuko Nyayo House, then they come and sell to you. I'd bought the 2.5 acres which touch the front Mombasa Road. We had bought them for about 1.5 million. And we are buying thinking that they are on the fry path. And the guys who are selling to us, you know those guys, by then, we are thinking still it's on the fry path. So me and a fellow, we looked at the map for Kenya Airport Authority and realized the plot was not on the fry path. So we bought it. Then behind, we bought the 5 acres from the same fellows. But then they were disposing, you know, when the regime was changing, they were trying to dispose everything. We bought 5 acres for 3 million. And those 5 acres currently, as we speak, have been offered about 150 million, but I'm constructing them for expansion. So when I had that land, so when we got out of the problem, because we restructured the problem we had with the bank, the same bankers did not want to lose us because they had seen the potential. And by then, our turnover was about 45 million. So they agreed to mortgage that property and give us some expansion loan. So we got about 65 million. We did construction with it. But my borrowing I can tell you 90% of my business borrowing comes from customers. I ask my customers to pay me in advance. I'm able to do upfront financing of about close to 50 million in a month. If today I decide to collect 50 million for future surprise, I'm able to get that from my key customers. So I get my funding from suppliers, from my customers, and I get the rest from my suppliers. I'm able to negotiate up to 90 days with them. And that has helped the business grow. But that does not come easy. It comes by people trusting you and building very, very strong relationships. In the banks, I just borrow for capital expansion. But for operations, I do it through suppliers and through my customers who trust the brand. And it becomes quite easy. I want to take you through this slide very quickly. That is what we project to do in the next 10 years, 5 years, I mean. If you look at 2010, we project to do 2 billion. And we are going to hit that figure. Actually, we are going to do about 2.2. We're going to do 2.2 billion in turnover. If you look at 2011, we project to do about 2.6, but I'm projecting about 2.8. 2012, we want to do 3.3. That we are going to surpass that because of the programs I'm putting in place in terms of the regional market. Because what I'm expecting is, if you look at the lower line, that is exports. The 270 is exports, 410 is exports, all the way up to 9.45 in 2015. But I'm suspecting, or the structures we are putting in place with how the business have gone in terms of the ESC protocol and so forth, we are going to be able to do an equivalent of what we are doing in the regional market. So it's very easy for me to double those targets. So I'm expecting probably 2015 to do about 9 billion. In 2014, about 7 billion. 2013, we are expecting about 5. So that is the projections. We are going to hit that because we are targeting the sub-Saharan market, and the market has opened up, and we're able to be as competitive as the Chinese. So that is that. I wanted to look at any question. I could take you through, sorry, forget about that. That was extracted from some financial report. But 1994 when I started, that is what we did. You can look at how the growth has come all the way to 2009. When we did about 1.2 billion. So that is how we have been growing, and it's a great business, and I love being in it. It's my passion. I'm very passionate about it. And like today, I met a friend of mine. I was entering a small salon. What are you doing here? Oh, to see my client. Just a small salon to see whether they are using my product. And just to tell them thanks. So remember your customers. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.